What it do, what it is, what it ain't. It's your brother, J International, tapping back in once again because consistency is key. And so, in this day's podcast, I want to talk about doing you and how doing you is going to alienate people from you. But so what? So I want to start off by talking about a time in my life when I was a part of the crowd. And being a part of the crowd was a very welcoming feeling because I had people to hang around with. I had people to identify with, and I had a sense of belonging. And so what I would do with this crowd in my small town in California that I used to live in is we would just kick it in the neighborhood. We would drink, smoke, and party, and chase women. That's basically what we did on a day-to-day, week basis. Now, each one of us may have had a little job, a little labor job here and there, or some of us may have not had any job and just living with family members, and some of us may have had like a little hustle that we were doing. But pretty much outside of those things, that was pretty much what we would do on a day-to-day basis. But as time passed and as we got older, I began to read. I began to read different types of literature, and I began to study as well different types of literature. And up until that point, I don't think I was in college. I was going to I would say from about 20. This period was like from about, I would say 18 to 24. I was in college. I was in community college, but I wasn't taking it really serious. I was just signed up because it was something to do, and because my father had told me before he passed. Family members always talked about, just go to school, get a good education, and so you can get a good job. But around this time, I was in community college, and particularly this time is very important because around that time when I first started community college, my father had passed. And my father was the one who basically was the sole provider and who raised me. My mom wasn't really in the picture for the most part of my life. I would visit her, but she wasn't really in the picture. And so, from about, like I said, from that range of about 18 to 24, I was just kicking it and partying and just having fun and trying to kind of, in a sense, make up for lost time. And it was around mid-24 that I started to think man, what am I going to do with my life? I think around that time too, I just met, I was dealing with a woman. We were in a long-term committed relationship. So it seemed on my part, not so much on her part. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But around that time, I just started to say, man, what am I going to do with my life? Is this it? Am I just going to kick it and just chill with the homies? And is this it? Or, do I want more out of my life? And so it was around this time that I started to really get serious about education and finishing college around 24, mid 24 going into 25, I was like, okay, this time, I'm going to get serious. Now, as I said, I was in community college here and there, and I did actually get some courses completed, but I just wasn't as serious and driven as I was at this time when I reached mid 24, 25. So I got real serious, and I began to study very vigorously and spend hours and hours upon hours in the library in a private room just studying. And during that time also, not only studying the coursework, but I began to read different things that outside of the coursework that began to have an impact on my mind and change my mind, right? And so soon I began to learn that it was a much bigger world than just my hood, my neighborhood. And I began to interact with different people outside of my community from different cultures. And so just in that act alone, soon I began to alienate, just, not dumping on them, but alienate certain individuals I used to deal with just by making that move, because they was still doing what they was doing, and I was trying to embark on, trying to level up my life. So not too long after that, I soon started to travel just outside of the state, because you got a lot of brothers in the hood that don't ever leave their immediate neighborhood. You have some individuals from the hood that don't even go to the next town over, don't even go to the other part of their own town. And so as I became more knowledgeable and I was reading and studying, I said, you know what, I want to travel just to some places outside of the state of California, like, Nevada and Arizona, just those places, but a lot more so Nevada. And so I did that. And that soon progressed from me going from traveling from state to the next state over to traveling to the other coast, the East Coast. And that soon progressed to me traveling globally. Now, all during this time, just by that act alone, I'm beginning to alienate myself from certain people who just was like, well, I'm cool being in the neighborhood, right? And so I began to distance myself from my old crowd, whom continued to remain in the old hood. And I want to say this: it wasn't like I didn't want to bring them along, but it was like they were just comfortable. They was content being where they were. And I was like, no, I'm trying to, as I'm gaining this knowledge, I'm trying to, explore more. And so now they began to look at me as being different and, being new and being weird. And saying that, saying things like, oh, Jay, he acting brand new, he acting weird, he don't hang around us no more, he don't come around the family no more, and this, that, and the other. But this is the thing, like, it wasn't like they couldn't level up with me. It wasn't like they couldn't say, hey man, you know what? Let's get on that same hype that he's on. Let us start to expand our horizon outside of the hood. It wasn't like they couldn't do that. It was just that they were content where they were. And all I was doing was doing me. And in doing me, I just wanted to expand myself rather than stay the same old Jay. So I alienated some of the people that I used to hang out with, but it is what it is what it is. It's on them to level up. And so that's basically what you have to do if you want to grow as an individual. You're gonna have to level up, and in that leveling up, you may alienate some people from you, but so what? Because you may alienate that old crowd, but you're coming into contact with a new crowd, which is what happened with me. And so as I leveled up, I started to meet other individuals who were leveling up too, and doing the same type of things that I was doing, traveling, studying, all that. I started to interact and build relationships with these type of individuals, and it was all good. It was all good, and it's been all good. So don't be afraid to alienate people because you're deciding to level up. Do you, and the onus is on them to level up. So with that being said, this is your brother Jay International. I want y'all to go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, because I'm constantly creating new content, and share. And with that being said, peace.